Try before we die with a bearded man and a British guy.
Welcome to the Reading Hour, tonight on PBS. Murphy's Law, H.L. Menklen's Law. Those who can do, those who cannot teach. I've heard that before. Seems like people who are jealous of summer vacations. Wait a minute. That's the other show I'm on. Try before we die. Welcome back, everybody. Mal, it's great to... What's going on? I'm gonna need an explanation. G-Man!
Hey.
You're on set.
Yep.
Did you strike a bargain with Mal or something and sort of trade out for the day?
I can't tell you.
It's probably a law. Let's see if we got G-Man's law. Gordon's first law. If a research project is not worth doing at all, it is not worth doing well. Oh, I love the books on the bar. G-Man, Try Before We Die, right? Yeah. The whiskey review show where we push a button and we find out what we're opening by surprise. No research in advance.
No.
It's kind of fun, right?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. We got about 400 bottles of whiskey in this bar, maybe even a little bit more. And we're going to find out which one we're going to open tonight.
Yeah.
With a focus on a single malt Scotch whiskey from Ireland. No.
Oh, well.
Scotland. He's onto it. We're going to drink a Scotch from Scotland tonight. G-Man, why don't you push the button and find out what we're opening tonight, and then we'll carry on.
This is the first time I've ever done this.
You've never done this before? All right, never mind. If it's not worth doing well, it's not worth doing at all.
Going after it. Just going after it.
Right.
Something about... now.
Boy, 115. Ooh. So that puts us on the shelf behind you, so I'm going to have to go get it. We know that we're at 98 at the top. Anyway, we're on the second shelf. Oh, I have an idea. I'm going to go get it. Bottle 115. Here we go. All right. Bottle 115. What we know, everybody, is this is bottle 98. We add 10 to 98. We got 108. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. To my knowledge, an old label, not available in this presentation anymore. Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, established 1897, a 10-year-old. This is evidence of something we say regularly. This is the Tamdhu 10-year-old. We did open a 20-year-old Tamdhu on a bonus episode years ago. So here we have a Highland single malt from Speyside. Evidence again of all Speysides are Highlands, but not all Highlands are Speysides. This is the Tamdhu. I don't know much about it. I can tell you the label says, bringing together our own malted barley, water from our own spring with a delicate hint of local peat. Sort of excited to see what this 10-year-old Tamdhu brings to us. I'm going to head back over to the bar, and me and G-Man will let you know what we think. G-Man, did you hear?
I did.
We have a label evidence of Highland Speyside. The regions combine, and you have to sort of pick who you are. So the Tamdhu, their 10-year-old release, but the Tamdhu, Highland single malt, Speyside, Scotland. I bet when we see the graphic on the map, we'll see that the Tamdhu distillery is located in the Speyside region, but they've identified as a Highland. As I noted at the bottle pull, bringing together our own malted barley, water from our own spring, and a delicate hint of local peat. So they're pretty proud of their sourcing of their products. My understanding, this bottle, of course, has been here for a while, to my knowledge, in the bar, and I would know, that this labeling is not available anymore. So this is an older bottling of the Tamdhu. I have no evidence of the year. Sometimes they say, if you look inside the bottle, oh my goodness. This may have been, what year is it? 22, right?
22.
So 12 years ago was what year? 10? Because part of me is wondering if this is from 2004 or 2011. There's usually on the inside of bottles, everybody, on this big label, if you look in, there's sometimes a stretch of numbers that will tell you little tidbits of information. And I do see some numbers in there. On the bottom, too, sometimes you can see some stuff. So I have a 16, so this could be from 16, and of course that would be 6 years ago. That also is not inconsistent with a bottle that's been here for a while.
Certainly.
But in the meantime, let's get it opening, which is the deal here. I think maybe it's going to foil this way. Foil, like that's what Shaggy and Scooby and the gang would do to lots of bad guys, right?
It's about to say you might get foiled again.
You'll be foiled again. I think I've gone the wrong way because I've got this great big, what's that? What does Steve Jobs wear? What's that? A turtleneck. Got this big turtleneck foil coming up. There it is. Still the cap stays. Here we go. It's the deal. It's legit, everybody. It's legit.
Here we go.
So we can see the cork. See how it tapers on the inside, G-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that allows for some whiskey getting up around it so that hopefully we can break it free without a cork failure. It's been here for a spell.
Okay.
There it is. Oh, it came nice and ready. And when you look at a bottle, everybody, you always want to pay attention to, is the spirit, the liquid, this is called the shoulder. Is it over the shoulder? And so as whiskey spends more and more time in a bottle, sometimes you get a little bit of the angel's share still evaporating. Your whiskey is always good as long as it is over the shoulder. So we're in the clear here. And the size of the bottle, sometimes whiskey will be here on the neck or here on the neck. It's really about the shoulder for volume. Oh, look at that.
It's bubbling.
It's like ready to go. It's like, you gotta show me the way out of here.
Lively. What?
I really thought that bottle cork pull was lively too. You know, I like this presentation without this. Right, it has like Old West, and this has Old West a little bit too.
A little bit.
My favorite part. Let's see how it goes. The air bubble is not trapped. We've got no gurgle. A little there. Again, bottle shape matters. The Tamdhu. 10-year-old. Speyside distillery producing a Highland single malt, as we've discussed. We are coming in at 40% ABV. All we have on the back are those traditional warnings about please be responsible as a human being, whether you're pregnant, operating machinery, etc.
It's good advice.
I feel it is good advice, right? Right. Especially if you're pregnant and operating machinery, right? It's like a double whammy.
Better safe than sound.
What if you got pregnant operating the machinery?
I don't know if we're going to cover that in this show.
Yeah.
That's broader than we are.
This old labeling, I think, has a chance of being in this book. The Tamdhu being a single thing. I won't go to the index. Let's see. LMNOP RST. TAMD. We've got the Tamdhu, the Tamdhu. Region Highlands, District Speyside. This distillery is still somewhat overshadowed by its charismatic neighbor, Macallan, which is only 6 or 7 miles down the river. Both malts are significant contributors to the famous grouse, the biggest selling blend in Scotland. What we know about the biggest selling single malt is, do you remember?
It's going to be the Glenmorangie.
Yeah, the Glenmorangie. As singles, their fortunes differ. Since Macallan and Tamdhu came under the same ownership, the former has been promoted. So Macallan really gets all the marketing dollars. Tamdhu shares its name with a station on the railway. Tamdhu Station is more elaborate than most, with 2 full-length platforms and a signal box. Distillery founded in 1896. We don't see established 1897. To me, that might mean they broke ground, began making spirits.
Yeah. Construction took some time.
Mm-hmm. And largely rebuilt in the 70s. Sizable and impressive maltings, providing for all of its own needs. Their own barley, their own spring, local peat. Impeccably well kept and has its own touches of tradition, notably in its enthusiasm for wooden fermenting vessels. House style. Let's see. No age statement. Of course, we have the 10. They talk about some independent bottlings, and that's it. We'll just look at their color: bright gold, flowers faintly lemony, cereal grain, body is light and soft, palate clean, sweet, very soft toffee-ish, and easily drinkable malt accented introduction to singles. It finishes flowery with very faint hint of peat. Now that is not this. It's their no age statement, but also a 40%.
There might be a waft of peat in there somewhere, but I'm already anticipating cut grass.
Yeah, and of course, a delicate hint of local peat. 6 or 7 miles from Macallan, Highland single malt in the Speyside region, malted and distilled at the Tamdhu distillery. Now, on-site malting is not as common as it used to be, so if that remains true to this day, of course, this book, I believe, is from 96. This whiskey has been here for a number of years. That remains impressive. We'll do a little research off camera. Mr. G-Man, where are you landing with coloration?
Well,
You've said something already, but now that it's in your hand versus the grand quantity in the bottle.
it's definitely brighter in the glass. I think that gold is right on the money.
Yeah, it is golden. If it were a goose, would it lay an egg, right? It is golden. It is always trying to find another word that it references. Is there a piece of a cloudy sunrise? Is there something going on in here? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. It's not a ray, a drop of golden sun.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right, but there's something sort of diffusing it a little bit, but there's something sunny about this, but with some diffusion.
I'm taking it up to some of our white lights here, and some of the lights in the background have a little bit of color to them, and it still holds on to a definite red tone.
Yeah.
So it's a little darker than just a pure gold.
Right. There is. Right, and
Like
it is
a sunset beam.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Okay, excellent.
I'm eager to smell this.
So the on-site fermentation, fermenting the barley, the local water, the local peat.
They do it all.
Let's smell it.
Yeah. Ready? Oh,
I cheated.
I didn't.
Yeah, if there's peat in there, it is faint.
Very.
It's not a dominant profile.
Like yesterday's campfire.
Maybe there's something lemony. Maybe there's a very volume turned down citrus in there. I'm gonna go to I think if you were Malcolm, you might say there is something floral going on here.
Yeah, but not a sweet. It's just a A little more floral than a grass.
Everything on the nose here feels subtle.
Yeah.
Whether it's the peat, whether it's maybe some citrus, maybe it's some floral, it's all subtle across the board.
Suggestions of it.
There is nothing potent or impressive, and not in the negative sense at all, everybody, about the nosing here. It is just completely subtle. In fact, if this were a blind, it might be hard to just immediately go, oh, this is a whiskey.
Yeah.
Right. And again, but of course, we're in the United States. And so our classic examples of whiskey are bourbons or Tennessee whiskeys or rye whiskeys. And again, there is no comparison here.
None whatsoever.
It
smells delicious.
It just is so subtle. There's something faintly sweet.
There is a sweet, but it's not sweet.
Right, but I think that's that citrusy. And so if we go to that lemony direction, right, lemon's not, of course, a sweet fruit.
I'm getting more of a vanilla. A light,
now that you just
vanilla.
right again, but it fits right in with all that subtle
weaving in
content.
between it.
Right. Well, I'm done talking about the subtle nose.
Oh gosh.
Right? Shall
You
we
ready?
have a taste, have a sip?
Here we go.
All right. So on the front, it really did feel like still very subtle. It did feel like there was something citrusy happening in the front. And as it transitioned to the back, again, amazingly subtly, there was just that hint of peat, but not smoke, just a hint of something earthy happening. So what we have is sort of this outdoor experience whiskey of in the lemon field, as you're sort of sitting under the lemon tree and maybe picking up on some aroma, but at the same time, you're also catching some of that earthy stuff from below you. Does that make sense to you?
It does make sense to me. I mean, there's no denying that middle part of that presence of a darker earthy, that it's a peat, but it's not a peat. It's just darker and more full-bodied.
Right,
I didn't get the same
subtle.
beginning, but very subtle.
But
Yes.
very subtle. So don't get confused with
No.
G-Man's language of darky, earthy, because it's not robust in that sense at all.
No, it's just another level, but it comes in at a lower tone that you don't expect. The beginning is very bright, but it's not very rememberable.
And so you're saying you're not picking up on the citrus?
I'm picking up on, like, I could see cut lemongrass.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fixation on it. The color's there. It's the Speyside. It's going to be a grassy type of tone. The nosing notes from the no age statement kind of lean that way anyway, and it delivers. It's a nice fresh grass.
Right. It shows up from beginning to end as outdoors.
That's that malty kind of theme that goes through it. But the bright sweet is definitely more of a honey to me than a lemon. With a vanilla flavor.
All right. No, there's that lemon. I'm with you. I'm like, suddenly I found some honey, and I'm like, no, but there's that lemon. So again, that front end is sweet, and it's got that citrus, and maybe it has that honey too, but it ends in this very subtle earthy piece, right? It's not robust in any sense. It's not asking us to dig deep and what's going on. It just is. It's actually asking us to notice all these subtle flavors across the experience from front to back. Very short finish.
Very quick.
Yeah.
It's a little thick in the mouth.
Little viscosity.
A little viscosity after. I mean, I know I've had a sip of it because of the viscosity in my mouth longer than I have the flavor, which is something. I'm reacting to having drank it.
I'm going to just check one other book just to see if it's in that book.
And this is that straight 40.
This is that Tamdhu. I pulled right into the T's. Tamdhu 10. Here we go. Tamdhu 10. 40%. Pale amber.
Okay.
Agreed. Perhaps a dash of smoke. fragrant perfumes, toffee-ish and malty,
There's the
without being rich. Right, that's that absence of that robustness.
Right.
It's not rich. Finish is mellow and complete. All right, right. So I think we're picking up on the classic profile flavors of the Tamdhu, whether it's their no age statement or actually directly connected to this bottle. Toffee. I want to pay attention to that because that might be that confusion with the vanilla. Maybe.
Right.
I could see it either way. I don't want to be led astray by the language of toffee because I feel like the vanilla is there, but if I didn't think about it, I feel like I would find the toffee. There is something subtly sweet going on in here.
Yeah.
I do stand by my citrus notes as well.
It's definitely not as potent as like a caramel.
No.
And the vanilla tone, everything about this is on a scale of 1 to 100. This is at like 15 to 20% anything.
Yeah. You know, we've had plenty of whiskeys where there's just one flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. And that's what we're experiencing here. We're really sort of, and you use the term weaving, we're weaving through a number of experiences.
Right. There's a lot of individual
nice.
things that are coming together to make this overall really mellow experience. This is a good whiskey.
When would you drink this, Jim?
I could see at the end of the day, after cutting the lawn.
Mm-hmm. Right, because you'd be coming in with all those grassy aromas, earthy experiences.
It already pairs up with what you've already done, and it's a great way to end the day. It's a lighter whiskey.
Not that we do this all the time. Brunch?
Under the right circumstances, yes.
Yeah. With a nice fruity, whether you had a strawberry raspberry pancake or you just had a fruit bowl, right? And you were in a circumstance where, you know, hey, we're having whiskey with breakfast, brunch, right?
Right.
You could have this early in the day.
Yeah.
Not in search of the intoxication, but more in search of what's pairing well. This could be a brunch whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's definitely light and approachable.
Right.
I mean, this is
Right.
this is another one, and we mention this from time to time. This is another one of these whiskeys that somebody who hadn't been introduced to a Scotch, this wouldn't be a bad way to do it.
Right. You notice that we've completely departed from the peat conversation. Right. That is perhaps the most subtle flavor we're experiencing here. Right. It feels like it's in existence there, but it's like inconsequential. Yeah. Everything else is dominant, yet everything is subtle.
It's like looking at a photograph and in the background there are mountains. You're not looking at the mountains.
Right. Yeah,
but they are there. It's subtly there on the nose.
This is a nice whiskey. I'm gonna have to do a little research on this particular label and what's going on with Tamdhu these days. I do have some of their newer batch strength releases here in the bar, but this has been here for a spell. The Tamdhu 10-year-old, everybody. G-Man, thanks for joining us on set today.
I was happy to be here.
Yeah, well, why don't we, we're about to get to our toast. Would you, is this like your hint? My glass is empty, I'm not ready for the toast?
Like I said, it's a good whiskey. Thank you.
While I'm pouring. We're about to do the toast, but briefly, would you do a pineapple or cheese, or would you just keep it as is?
If I had to, I would pick a cheese all day.
I'd pick a pineapple on this one. It just feels like this might be the right one. Pineapple, I think, still will be too strong. Cheese, I think, will be nice and creamy and will work, but we'll find out off camera.
You had fresh apple.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Fresh apple.
I don't think
again, I think something fruity is going to work with this in that brunch setting. All right, let's see what the crew has prepared for us. Oh, so this actually is a toast we used at that incredibly embarrassing episode of Molly's Wedding, which I hope has been deleted. But we wished Molly and Steve this at their Irish wedding. Mal and I, if you saw that episode, which is, sorry everybody, but we wished this to them and we wish this to you. May the best of your past be the worst of your future. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is a picnic
Yeah.
This is outdoors. This is
It's a very long picnic.
right. This is enjoying yourself. This is a what is that? A parasol. This is a flowing a gown, a dress, right? A wicker basket, cheese and fruits, and a sandwich. And I'm the what do they call those rich? The idle rich.
The Idle Rich.
This is a whiskey for the idle rich.
I just had
You
a
just
thought.
get to drink in the mornings, the afternoons, and the evenings.
Fresh, cool grapes might pair really good with this. It definitely leans towards the fruit. I
Yeah,
may have erred in my judgment
yeah.
going with cheese.
Yeah, no, I think something fruity. I think the pineapple will be too strong.
Yeah.
That white grape, that something
Right.
fruit that is just not so potent in its flavor is going to pair well with this.
I agree.
This is a nice whiskey. I'm curious to see what they are doing with their 10-year-olds this time. I'm going to have a piece of cheese though.